Hello, hello, hello! Forecnarr here, and again, a new type of video. Don't get used to these, of course. Championship events are difficult as is, but I want to do more in the future. I still have a life I have to be active in, begrudgingly, but you know. I went to my first championship event recently, the European International Championships. How did I do? Why did I choose my deck? What went well? And even better if. And how did the live bugs end up messing with me? Plus, is there any advice I learnt? Stick around to find out. And feel free to ask me any questions on the experience, because I'm happy to teach. It's not like I'm an expert, but I can just tell you what I learned. So let's get on with it. So, firstly, all I wanted was to have fun. I did reach my goal of wins, and to see how I did and what my goal was, you'll have to wait. Instead, I just want to talk about how I handled it and how it felt. There were a load of losses that sucked. Horrible losses, like the top deck game, the fact that I could have known a matchup better. But I did get wins, both early on and in the later games. They were sprinkled throughout the event and helped keeping me feel happy. But there were parts that hurt, I'll be honest. I won't be specific now, but there was a deck I faced twice in a row, and I wanted to drop after that. I wanted to reach my wins, and then I wanted to drop. But I had 50 minutes, roughly, after one of those games to clear my head. The second game, obviously. And yeah, it beat me that badly. But I was back in the game and doing all 9 rounds. The moment I was talking to people, I'm like, no, I can't just give up. I want to do this. I'm here playing. I don't feel bad for losing. I just feel like I missed something, but then I wasn't, like, instantly, oh, I was 1 point off. I was close to making day 2, but I wasn't 1 point off, so it doesn't matter. And besides, it's fun, and I want to do more Pokemon. I want to play more, try more, make dumb videos, and play dumb decks. I mean, that's why I play Elemental Monkeys, not to the event, just in general, right? I want to help people and inform people. I want to make all the YouTubers know my name. I want to make people know my name. I want to make people happy to watch me and understand that these card games are both serious and fun and everything. I want to experience it all. And to do that, I play. So, looking back, I'm glad I actually felt bad. And I'm glad I wanted to drop, because it gets me thinking and figuring out what I wanted to do. How am I going to improve? How am I going to go about the next rounds? How was I going to get as many wins as possible, even if I hadn't made day 2 at that point? But I also had fun meeting people. It was one of the best parts, personally. My opponents were almost always energetic and super chill. Other than, one, but it's a serious tournament, and I'm not going to judge them for that. It's not like, there's one correct way to play. And the YouTubers I met were no joke, I'm going to be honest. It wasn't just, I'm not going to show the pictures just because, face, and who knows, maybe they haven't announced it because I made a load. But, even if I blur it, it's just a pain to do. And besides, I don't want to ruin any surprises if they haven't announced they're doing videos or if they're whatever. And I know I'm not really popular yet, but it's the principle that matters to me more. So, yeah. I know a few did tease it on social media, though. So, I could tell you about them. I did meet the Diamond Minecart himself, so anyone who doesn't really get a lot of British recommendations, that's Dan TDM, who was a huge part of my childhood. And I met Tim Danklin, the mustache man himself. Really nice people, exciting to talk to. Super excited, and because I met them early on, I was still full of it, a lot of energy. So, yeah, the experience was just that much better. I actually talked to them just about what it would be like, a long day, asked about their decks, general stuff like that. But to see them, it felt good. Fun. It's why Pokemon is a good way to connect with people and find a community. Inspiring, really. to keep this all up and to try and reach out into a future where I meet more and more people and connect with more and more people, I want to grab that future. Because it's incredible just who you meet, and just in this game, you meet so many, not even just in the card game, in the video game, in Pokemon Go, in Pokemon Unite. You meet so many people. Wolfie, I didn't meet Wolfie, but I would have liked to. Meeting Wolfie, uh, Dan, Tim Anglin, Azul GG's, Atlas TCG, so many. And it's not just the victories, but the people. I don't think there's a better way to say it. So, yeah, there's no way to just easily wrap this part up because it's short but fun. I think I should just move on and yeah, let's do that. And now I feel bad because I'm sure you can all hear me doing that, and that's just me banging against my desk, and you can hear the clicks or the clack of cards because I just can't stop fidgeting because this event is so fun to talk about. It was so fun, and I'm just having to do physical things to like do. I'm going off on a tangent now, but physical things to just try and outsource this excitement. It's a fun thing, and I'm sure you can also hear me like a bit sick. Sorry, feeling under the weather, but I just can't not talk about this right now. Um, and I'm sure it's going to happen more because this next segment, it it's about my deck, and this deck gets me really excited. It was so fun to play, and I don't think I could have picked a better deck for this event. So I felt good when I won, but why? And what did I play? Well, it wasn't a strategic choice. I was going to play like Gardevoir, Ancient Box, or Elemental Monkeys, but it wasn't happening. Let's be honest, that one would be funny, but it wasn't happening. It was a tough decision, personally. But in a giveaway from a certain PokeTuber who will not go named, but I did meet them at the event, so if I ever become popular and suddenly you recognize me, you'll figure out who it is. You'll know who, like, the YouTuber will know who it is. Even I'm not saying I won't get popular, but difficult to do in the YouTube, but whatever. Going off on a tangent. I won a Terrapagos EX in a giveaway, and it was kind of perfect. I mean, I could choose something like Terrapagos Zard, because I had the Zard pieces, or maybe Palkia Terrapagos. No, I couldn't. Not when I saw the deck, and not when I saw the deck I chose. So, drum rolls, please. And I'm going to do my own physical drum rolls, because the script says drum rolls, but I think it's funnier if I do it this way. It was the crab. I chose Clorf. It was always going to be Clorf, let's be honest. Back when I first started getting back into Pokemon, which was roughly the last year's August, I got a Paradox Rift ETB and pulled two Clorf. Reverse, which I ended up trading with someone because I didn't like the reverse. In fact, I still have it, actually. It's right here. I have the reverse I pulled right by my desk. I'll see if I can grab a photo, and if not, then just have to trust me. I just got someone else to... I traded something else for a normal Clorf. Not the point. I had the Terrapagos, I had the Clorf, and I had a Petron EX that I didn't use, but at the time of testing I did use it, so the pieces were coming together. In fact, I had most of the Ancient cards I needed, because I was playing Ancient Box before this. And I had most of the trainers, because a lot of it is just common staples. So, it's a month before the tournament, and I had loads of time. Well, dang it. Okay, Clorf did well. Rhydon did well. Even Gouging Fire did well. And the list I was so solid on, this is the list I'm going to play for EUIC. Am I sure on it? I know I want to play Clorf Terrapagos, so that part's not changing. I am stuck on Clorf Terrapagos for this event. But how much of it I'm gonna run? Was I gonna run more Clorf, more V-Stars? So I actually ended up talking to the person who ran the Merida list, and on their post, I decided to take their list, already similar enough to mine, and take the list they said they'd run if they knew more about the meta, and compare them to the list I already had. And I don't think I made many changes. At the time, I wasn't running Colress's experiments, so I ran one of those. Or, second Aluminium V, second Steelstone, and Heavy Ball. Not too many changes. So, thinking about all that, we might as well see my list, right? So, the main idea uses Terrapagos or Clorf as the main attacker. Depending on the matchup, it can change to use weakness or resistance, or avoid weaknesses or resistances. It's whatever. Then, by using the poison package with Brute Bonnet, Radiant Sneasler, and sometimes Baby Patch, you can try to take turn 1 dunks or deal more damage with Binding Mochi, which really does help the deck a lot when you're trying to hit magic numbers, which I talked about in a previous video. Dealing with poison does turn off cards like Unfair Stamp or Roxanne. If the video strikes your interest, definitely go take a look. May not be the greatest audio quality, but then neither is this, and I'm sick, so, infinitely the other video was fun to record. But generally, you want to remove resources without giving them more cards to use. This can turn off Fez and stop its ability, basically. The need for poison can put us in worse positions against, like, Arcaladon, because Terrapagos with 230 take poison, it then hits 220. But considering that means we can then Fez, it's fine, because I have black belts for that matchup. I chose it over Kieran to deal with the Zard matchup, and just to help with that extra bit of damage needed. And the deck felt really, really good, honestly. Even when Precious Trolley was prized, I was almost always finding my cards, other than one game at EUIC, which I ended up losing because it was prized. Any turn prior, even the last few turns, if I had it, I was fine. But yeah, that's the deck, really. And yeah, it's fun. I really do like it, actually, and if I ever play like a vintage format of Brilliant Stars to Prismatic Evolutions, I would not try any. Well, I would try things other than Clorf, but Clorf would be my major thing. So yeah, fun deck, really. Friday morning, I'm at the event, all fun and ready with my deck, and what did I think about the event itself? Well, getting there early, there was a crowd, but I wanted to see the event for myself before I was stuck at the tables for hour on end. The venue was massive and amazing. The vendors were off to one side, the stage was right at the back, but even across multiple halls, you could just tell the scale of it. The tables took up most of the space. Seeing them empty felt as though something was missing, I'll be honest, but we'd be there soon enough. The people, the crowds, I'm mixed on them. On the one hand, so many people had come to this event. On the other hand, so many people had come to this event. It was difficult to walk around in. But once it cleared up, I had a wander around, tried to see what was, everywhere. And I'm really happy I did, because I met so many cool people. And part of the reason I saw the content creators was because I was wondering. There were cosplayers and YouTubers, players and spectators. Just shout out to everyone at that event for making the game and the community worth it and making these events so fun, because the event was electric. All of these people were sharp, not in a bad way, but in like an energetic way. The lines moved smoothly and everyone was welcoming. Even the opening ceremony was fantastic. A bit loud, but so much fun. I remember I was sat at my first match that I had eventually gotten to. We'll talk about that in a moment. And my entire, like, everyone around me was just vibing to the opening ceremony, which is good, great, even, because that's the atmosphere I want from these events. That's the atmosphere that just makes or breaks an opinion. Even before the event, when I needed to talk to support, they were incredibly clear and incredibly helpful. And I'm really glad to everyone on that staff team who helped us out and got everything sorted. And yeah, if I had any criticisms, getting pairings was a nightmare. Like, I've heard Arcanine gets overwhelmed at, like, every event, which is understandable. But even just getting physical pairings was too crowded, in my opinion. I get it. More spaces than you're expecting. Thousands more players, or thousands more people in general, than the last year. But it got to a point where people had to be told to turn off mobile data so we could access the Wi-Fi. And at that point, not even judges could properly get the pairings. It was insane. We couldn't look at the physical pairing. Well, we could, but it was so slow because everyone was bunched up. So either you didn't see your pairings and someone was in front of you, or you were at the front, you saw your pairings, but it was slow getting out. Yeah, pairings are a nightmare, but the worst part about that, it's fine. I wasn't super late to any match. It was understandable. I don't think I was late before time started anyway, so it's fine. I mean, sometimes I was late getting set up, but that's just because there's so many people to get by. It could get annoying, but it's fine. It was insane, though. So insane. I like it, though. I mean, I would have liked to get pairings easier, but I liked it. It was fine. So, as I'm sure you've all been waiting for, how did I actually perform at my first event? Well, drum rolls, please. I went 4 wins, 5 losses. Okay, looking at the title, how is that nearly advancing? I need a score of 19 match points, and I got 12. Because every win gets me 3 points, I still needed to get at least 2 wins and a tie to advance to day 2. I wasn't expecting to make day 2, by the way. It was just, in theory, if I had to make day 2. Very, very interesting. But just hold on. I'll get there in a moment. What did I beat? I beat 2 Dragapult, Okidogi, and Festival Lead. Okay, immediately off to a start. Considering 2 of those decks aren't very meta. However, it's not like they were horrible matches. They still put up a fight, and if you think they didn't, Festival Lead having type advantage, meaning, Brute Bonnet is an instant risk, even if they have 100, because they can KO the Brute Bonnet, then KO whatever I promote, in theory. Um, it's a matchup. I'm not saying it's a horrible matchup, because Call of Terrapagos still won in the end, but it was a matchup. And Okidogi poison shenanigans, it was really just whoever won the first coin flip. I fought those 2 towards the end anyway, so I still beat a lot of meta decks at the start. And Dragapult was fun, if not difficult, especially considering I got the donk. I think I did that a maximum of 1 time. Every other time actually had to play. And it was a popular deck, so I did learn the matchup well. And yeah, you want to know a bonus from those wins, though? The Okidogi player was from my locals. So it was basically a League Cup testing round. And considering I've got a League Cup soon, maybe I do keep on Claw of Terrapagos, or maybe I try pre-rotation Slowking, or a Golden Go Pole, or whatever. Who knows? But I might as well enjoy it, right? And, you know what? Speaking of learning the matchup, you want to know what I lost against? Caledon. A very, very annoying Rhydon match. 2 Lugias and Goldengo. Not a bad set. Not a bad set. For 9 rounds, it's impressive how far I got. For my first time especially. Doesn't mean they didn't hurt. I mean, I remember the Rhydon one. We were 1-1, and again, barely lost the first match. Or, no, I barely lost the second match. First match, I won. So it was game 3, and I'm stuck in a interesting, I have horrible in the script, but it's an interesting position on if they had boss or not. If they had boss, I lost. If not, I had game. They couldn't draw, not off Fez because of a poison KO, not off any other cards. And it was just sitting and waiting for the top deck. Their turn comes around, and they got it. Off their singular draw, they hit the boss. And it was a situation, to be honest. I think we've all had that situation before, where we've been forced into a horrible, close position, stuck. If we get it, we get it. If not, we're done for. And I was I say victim. I was the victim of that kind of experience. But that's the reality of playing card games. Sometimes it's all down to a top deck, and it's a painful existence. But you know what? Sitting there, waiting to see if they had a top deck, my heart was strong and powerful in a sort of anime moment, as cringy as it would be. I was sat there waiting for the future to be revealed. Could I win, or was I done for? And even though, well, if I had lost the Moradon, I still could have made day 2 at that point. I'm still happy I was in that sort of situation, even if I lost. It hurt, but every loss is a mix of emotions. Anger at the so-called fate that had brought me so far, sadness at how I had come so far, and even if I still could make day 2, the odds were slim. And happiness, really, because that sort of situation helps me grow. Maybe I should have called them out for benching Zapdos and switching to Magnemite. That was a mistake, but I thought it had dropped at first. But I'd think about it, on it, he had put it down. But I lost, I'll admit it, I had a chance and I blew it. But you want to know what I didn't have a chance in? Well, game 1, game 2 I actually did. My first Lugia round. What you want to know, dear viewers, is that Lugia is a matchup I wanted to test, because the deck is neat, but it just wasn't coming up, and even if it's rotating soon, I just couldn't get in that practice. So, a bit before the tournament, I set out some time to do some dedicated matchups, and I hadn't tested well. Gouging Fire and Lugia being the main ones, but also Golden Go and Ancient Box, I believe, because they were decks I wasn't favoured into. And then TCG Live was buggy. Buggy. And sure, I did try to practice elsewhere, but without the physical cards and not much time to test repeatedly, even if I proxied, I was at a major disadvantage. Thankfully, I didn't run into Gouging Fire or Ancient Box, and I was already unfavoured into Golden Go. But Lugia was going to be my biggest challenge, especially as I had made a dumb choice in my deck, now that I think about it. For those of you who were paying attention earlier, I said Black Belt's training would help against Charizard, and for that extra 10 damage against Kieran. That wasn't the choice I should have made. What I should have done, looking back on it, is added Kieran. Getting the extra 30 still KO'd Dragapult. It did the plays I had against Golden Go with Budu, and also helped against V's. Drago and Lugia still exist, even if they've dropped in popularity. And Dialga V-Star could be poison KO'd with it instead. That extra 10 damage would have been far less useful than the 30 I could apply to more Pokemon. One Charizard, yeah, helpful, but against the Dragos, Lugias, and any other Vs, Gouging Fire's gonna run Entei. It just felt strange. That extra 10 damage would have been far less useful, but I should have made the right play. My gut said Kieran, and I ignored it. And in a tournament where my entire thing is what fate gave me with my cards in a giveaway, why did I ignore it? I knew what I needed, and I could have gotten 2 more wins. I could have gotten KOs with Claw, Binding Mochi, Radiant Sneasler, and if I'd used Kieran, it was fine. Especially with my lack of Lugia testing. But my deck building choices were fun. I couldn't have predicted it. I thought Zard was still going to be popular just because of how readily available it was. I could have just read it better. But I'm proud of my deck. Especially for a first event, I am so incredibly proud of only 4 wins. It was a long day, and I still got to have a lot of fun. One of my Lugia losses was done so quickly, and I said earlier I had 15 minutes to clear my head. That was the matchup where I went loss, win, loss in my Lugia game. I'm like, so close, but I didn't win. At that point, I was eliminated from day 2. It was just, I wanted to get more wins. And I got back on my feet after thinking about it and talking to people who spectating, talking to players, talking to everyone. That break pushed me back to where I needed to be. But looking back, I am so certain Kieran was the play. Even if I did run into a Zard deck, it would have been fine. But it's whatever. Because, I wasn't expecting to make day 2. I just wanted 3 wins, and I beat that goal. 4 wins, 5 losses. 3 wins was my goal, and I beat it, and I'm happy. So, yeah. I guess there were some things I would have done differently, but it's fine. What would I have done differently? Well, deck-wise, I would have kept almost everything the same. Other than, as I just said, swapping out the black belts for training for Kieran. The deck was very, very fun to play, and when it rotates, I'm going to be so sad. But life moves on, and I'll recycle the pieces for some other decks, because I don't want to just give it up. I will not forget about this deck anytime soon. And it's pretty fun. If anyone does test Brilliant Stars to Prismatic, once it's rotated, give Cloth Terrapagos a go in like those vintage formats. But what could I have done better in game? Honestly, in my last round, I definitely forgot to poison, and I forgot to Squawk Seize at least once each. But it was a long round. I was 4-4. It was fine. Maybe if I had tied, I would have been 4-4-1, and it would have been perfectly even. But it's fine. Well, 3-3 also would have been even, wouldn't it? Again, tangent. Probably more. I forgot to use it, but whatever. I was tired. Cut me some slack. I could have been more on the ball about using abilities and using cards and everything. Sometimes I use my restart a bit too early or a bit too late. And I could have definitely been improving my ability to read situations. Even though the early V-stars did actually help my situation, I also could have been better at calling my opponents out if they had done something and then gone to take it back. And even when I messed up in my first round, I made sure to find a solution to do so. I believe I nestballed a cloth when I was trying to find something else. I don't remember what it was exactly, or maybe I needed an open slot, but I found a way around it. So I know it could be done. It's not perfect, but at that level, I want to get used to not taking things back, and that includes on my opponent's turn too. I hope that's not... what's the word? Not cruel, but something like it. Whatever. For the event itself, I'd probably try to talk to more people, though. I saw so many content creators, and sometimes I was just too timid. I'm glad I talked to the ones I did, and I actively talked to them. It wasn't like, I was just sat there and they talked to me, because why would they? I went and I talked to them, and the cosplayers were cool. I saw a Hilbert cosplayer, and I should have said hello to him. Same to some Pokemon cosplayers, like literal Pokemon. Miraidon and Chien Pao, they were so cool. I saw so many. There was I think it wasn't an Arven, but it was just a generic Paldean school guy that someone cosplayed. There was a May, there was a Cynthia, a Sonia. I could have said hello to them. I wish I'd been more active in talking to them. I definitely did with YouTubers, even asking some to sign my cards. But I should have done that for more people. The talking, not the signing, obviously. But yeah, just wish I'd been more active. Same for side events. I unfortunately didn't actually make it to day 2, or make it back day 2. No, obviously I didn't make it to day 2, but I didn't go back day 2 because of complications. But if I had, I'd do more side events. A bunch of them looked really fun, and my friends who did do the side events told me they were, and I quote, exciting and fun and weird, but good. I'm kind of sad about it, but c'est la vie. That's life. Hey, maybe it's a good thing. Maybe I didn't totally win the cosplay event with my totally put together cosplay. I'm sure I'd win every time. Okay, maybe not. Okay, I guess this is it. I'm gonna have to do retakes, I'm sure, but just under the weather, I wanted to get all done. That was my first championship event. So how did I nearly advance? Well, if I'd known the Lugia matchup and played against Arcaladard and Rhydon a bit stronger, I would have done that bit more damage. My matchups wouldn't have been the same, but who knows? How would it have been if they hadn't been the same? How could I have made day 2? Probably not, but you can hope. I enjoyed it though. I can't stress that enough. I was really, really enjoying it. My goal wasn't to make day 2, it was just to get 3 wins and to have fun. But surpassing that felt good, even if it was only 1 win. And I know when I do a tournament again, because I'm gonna do one again eventually, it's just gonna be that much funner to play, knowing I can improve. Or maybe I'll lose, maybe I'll go 3-6, maybe I'll go 0-9. Either way, I know the matches are gonna be fun. Might as well enjoy it. But I guess I do summarise for the section labelled summary. So, the event was fun. More than that, it was amazing. And I loved it. From the stage to the games, I wouldn't change that event for anything. Well, maybe I'd change it so I'd won. But if you're considering playing in a championship event, or even just spectating, I can say this for sure. If you have the funds and time, do it. Especially if you want to grow and be more social, it's a great way. But I guess that'll be me rounding off this video and gonna test for the next format, I guess. Journey Together as of recording. I doubt I'll be doing any major events this format, but my locals is gonna be my main place for improvement. So you better prepare, because someday you'll see my videos about my victories, I'm sure. Shameless plugs or whatever. But anyways, as always, thank you to Sherivari for the PNG tuber icon, and I'll leave their image maker and socials down below. I hope you have a good day, night, afternoon, or evening, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye! No, that was weird. That was a weird goodbye. And now you get to hear the outro. Goodbye!